Welcome to another edition of Community Conversations. I'm Frederick County Executive Jan Gardner. And today, my guest, we have a very special guest today, is Maryland Comptroller Peter Franchot. Welcome.
Thank you, Madam County Executive. It's great to be here.
Well, we're happy to have you here in Frederick County, and I wanted to take this opportunity to share with our viewers a little bit about what the Comptroller's Office does. So can you just give us a little brief overview of what the day in the life of the state comptroller is like?
Well, I love Frederick County because they have a lot of the values that I have as far as fiscal moderation and frugality, emphasis on education and health care and transportation, all things that you've championed. And so I feel very comfortable. I love being in Frederick County. The job of comptroller, which I've held for 9 years, thank you to your listeners and citizens who have let me be their comptroller. They pay my salary, and I really love the job. The main job is to collect tax revenues. We process almost 3 million tax returns each year. That's a big job. We get almost $2 billion in refunds back to people within 2.1 business days on average. So we're number one in the country.
That's good customer service.
Well, it's our own little stimulus plan. In January, February, March, that's when most of these refunds go out, and we tell people it's your money, we're just holding it because you paid too much taxes, and we're going to get it back to you very quickly. So they like that. That's the number one job. If I mess up on that, I'm not going to be your comptroller. And it's complicated, it's highly technical. Folks notice the problems with the health exchange over the last couple of years, nationally and on the state level. These technology programs are very fragile, so I'm always pleased that we're able to have a smooth tax season. Then the second part of my job that a lot of people don't know about is every 2 weeks I get together with the governor and the treasurer on the Board of Public Works. This is a unique panel. No other state has a Board of Public Works like we do. This body approves all major state contracts, and it has enormous power delegated to it to make sure that the taxpayers get a good deal, that there's competition in these state contracts, and then secondly, that the business community understands that things are on the level and that they're transparent and it's not just somebody with political connections getting these contracts, that it's, it's open and level playing field. So,
well, the Board of Public Works is very powerful. I mean, I think it's really one of the most transparent things that you do out there and I don't think people realize that when the legislature is not in session, you actually have a role to balance the budget if need be.
Correct. We are allowed by statute to reduce any state agency's budget by up to 25% when the legislature is not in session. And over 8-9 years with Governor O'Malley, we reduced spending by hundreds of millions of dollars, reluctantly, because it was attributable to the bad economy, but it's a very, very important, powerful tool for the taxpayers to monitor and adjust spending where necessary when the legislature is not in session. And the uniqueness of our Board of Public Works, Jan, is, if I can call you Jan, you call me
sure.
Peter. The uniqueness of the Board of Public Works is that I'm independently elected. The governor's independently elected. The treasurer is elected by the legislature. All the other configurations of boards of estimates and boards of public works around the country are gubernatorial appointees.
Okay.
So yes, there's oversight, but it's not complete oversight because everyone's indebted to their boss, right?
Right.
This is uncomfortable for the governor to have someone like me there, but it's very helpful for the citizens to have some checks and balances.
Right. Brings a balance of perspectives to the table that you might not have if they were all appointed.
And I'm getting along famously well with Governor Hogan, who happens to be a Republican. I'm a Democrat, but both he and I have an overlapping interest in procurement reform and making sure that it is these big contracts are transparent and competitive. And
that you get good prices.
Yeah, that will result, in my view, in good prices. We have way too many single big contracts that come in where the agencies say, look, we're getting a great deal. It's less than what we paid last time. But my question is, how do we know? There's no other bidder. How do we know that taxpayers are getting a good deal? And I think Governor Hogan has that same bent, which is let's do something that reforms the system, but gets as good or better a product, but saves money.
Well, what are you doing?
Kind of like Jane Gardner up here. I mean, you're funding education, you get a budget through, you're able to fund the values of Frederick County, but you're going to do it in a way where you're saying that we're going to be tight with the dollar and we're going to make sure people understand that we have some oversight and accountability for how their money is being spent.
That's right. Now, of course, here in Frederick County, as the county executive, I get to put that budget out, and the council is the check and balance, and they're all elected, 7 members. There's 4 Republicans, 3 Democrats, and they have discussed my budget, debated it. They had an outside auditor actually come in and go through it, and they have effectively, the majority have effectively supported my budget. So I think that's a great accomplishment for my first round here in
Congratulations.
County executive.
You have my sympathies, because I don't think the public understands that our profession is very difficult because there's so much negotiation that has to go on between people that are inherently adversarial because we're all running against each other. I'm lucky that I get support from Democrats and independents and Republicans, and I think you will in your elections because you have that value of frugality.
Well, you've been a fiscal hawk, and I think people appreciate that. So what's your view on the status of the economy right now? If you're looking at tax receipts and you're traveling around the state, meeting with people, where do you think we are in terms of a recovering economy?
Well, that's a good question. We are the richest state in the richest country in the history of the world. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about the United States being the economic powerhouse of the world. And there's no confusion in the data that Maryland is the richest state on a per family capita basis. So this is a special state that we have. Unfortunately, right now, the private sector doesn't feel comfortable in investing money and creating jobs, and consumers in Maryland are nervous about employment, so they're not spending like they normally do. We have a consumer-driven economy. And as a result, we're lagging behind the country as far as employment growth and wage growth. And those are components that we need to pay attention to. Doesn't take a lot of rocket science or radical action to get the economy back on track. We just have to give some certainty and predictability to the private sector and make them understand that their investments are welcome. And very quickly, the economic power of Maryland will turn our state's economy around. But you asked, candidly, our economy is quite lethargic right now.
Okay. Well, I see my revenue here growing very slowly, but at least it's growing. It was declining for a while. And so we see that slow recovery, but we really need to jumpstart it so that we can get back to where we were with people making good wages and addressing that uncertainty that I think that's out there.
Yep. We have a $300 billion economy in the state of Maryland. Frederick is a very strong part of that economy, but it is right now a little bit up and down. One month it's up, the next month it's down as far as economic activity. And the impression is out there, I think it's unfair, but the impression is out among the private sector that Maryland's not a good place to come and do business if you have choices. And so we need to face that front on, and I think we will over the next couple of years. So I think everyone will get comfortable again. But and we have, as I said, these economic bones that are so incredibly strong. Many of them you see here in Frederick. We have incredible higher ed system. We have a really well-educated workforce. We've got great medical centers. We are a state that believes in our children and investing in them. And
we have a high quality of life. I mean, there are lots of great opportunities living here in Frederick. We have great schools. We have a very safe community. The city of Frederick is very vibrant. There's lots of activities here. We love our history and our cultural amenities here and our agriculture. So there's just a lot of exciting things happening here.
Couldn't agree with you more. A lot of people say to me as comptroller, well, don't you want to cut taxes? And I said, sure, I don't mind cutting taxes, but only if it's practical. And it is completely impractical right now for people to get out and ideologically say we can cut taxes in a major way and maintain our quality of life. We can't do that. We have a very complicated economy. The private sector tells me that rather than cutting taxes, just give them some certainty so that they are not going to feel that every year the rug is pulled out from underneath them and the rules are changed and taxes are increased in a significant way. We give them that certainty, the state's going to really return to the prosperity that we're accustomed to.
Well, that's what we're looking for. We think we just adopted a new slogan. It's rich history, bright future.
Yeah.
We think our future is bright, and I do think we need to speak to that, and that those of us in leadership positions need to be out there talking about what's good in Maryland and why it's good to do business here and why it's fabulous to live here. And I think we have a lot to talk about. Do you want to mention before we close why you're here today in Frederick County and what you're traveling around the state doing?
Well, we've got a number of presentations. The most important one for me today is the William Donald Schaefer Helping People Award to Ed and Marilyn Hind that is given to them because they have established an initiative to help kids that through no fault of their own happen to be homeless or in shelters and are in the school system. And that's a obviously very difficult situation for these young kids. It's not their fault, and the fact that they're able to rally the community to give extra attention and help to these kids, I'm going to give them this award, which is named after my great predecessor, William Donald Schaefer, who always, if you knew why Governor Schaefer, he was not a huge vision person, the big ideas, that was not what he was comfortable with. What he really liked to do was help individual people. And that's what the Hinds have done, one by one by one. And God bless them. So we're going to give them that award and then head out to Hagerstown, which is one of my favorite parts of the state also.
Well, I appreciate you being here today. I hope our viewers learned a little bit about what the Comptroller does in the state of Maryland, the important role you play on the Board of Public Works. So I'm happy that you're here today, and thank you for sharing time with us. To our viewing audience, if you have any questions or would like to contact the Comptroller's office, we have the information on the screen, and the Comptroller provides great service in making sure our citizens are taxed fairly from a tax collection standpoint and that we have good procurement in the state of Maryland. So thank you for joining us.